to my TED Talk. I appreciate I am between you and the bar, so we'll go as quick as we can. But hopefully there'll be useful information about working with the strange and wonderful creatures that are voice actors. So we'll go through who I am. What does an actor actually do? Because it's more than just talk, unfortunately. When should you bring actors on board if you're working on your game? When do you get us involved? Where do you find us? Usually under rocks or writing a screenplay in a cafe. How do you cast us? What's it going to cost you? And then once you get us into a recording booth, how on earth do you get us to do the thing you want us to do? And then lastly, how you can help us. I will say as well, I apologize because I have a horrific cough today as well. And Q&A. Okay, so who am I? This is basically a load of nonsense about me. But essentially, I've been working in voices for nearly a decade now. Something like 300 roles across 60 titles. You can see them up there. The wonderful Divinity Original Sin 2, which you've had speakers from today. Or tomorrow, possibly. Elite Dangerous. Indie teams up to the big AAA houses. I have my own studio as well, so I'm used to engineering sessions and working on my own audio. And I picked up a couple of awards. This is all up there basically to say I do know what I'm talking about, because I think it's quite handy to know if your speakers actually know what they're doing. So, what does an actor actually do? Reads the words you've written and adds everything that's not on the page. So essentially, you write yourself a script. It's our job to take it off the script and turn it into a real-life, living character. Bring that character to life. We are the cherry on top, the end of the process. Look at that. It's almost like I wrote my own slides. Adds the cherry on top. Where you can use us to greater effect is to provide input on the narrative. We are essentially experts in character. You have engineers, you have artists, you have level designers. An actor is not just a voice at the end of a microphone in a booth. We are experts in character. So we can offer emotional direction in terms of your narrative. We can also offer what I call a sanity check. So you've written a lovely piece of narrative, you've got a wonderful story arc, you've got your character who you take from point A to point B to point C. We can offer a sanity check of, I don't think that would work emotionally to get a character from B to C. In theory, we also give you back time, or at least a good actor will give you back time. If you get a good actor in a voice booth where you've scheduled 3-4 hours, in theory, we should get through that pretty quick. If you've prepared us, if we know the script, if we know the game, we know the character, it should be a pretty efficient process. You can get very bogged down and spend hours and hours in a booth hammering out audio, but a good actor should help you get through that in pretty good time. If we're just reading the words, something has gone very wrong. If you've got an actor in the booth and we're just there mimicking and reading what's on the page, you're not using us for what we're really there for. You want us to be informing the script, informing the narrative, and providing a feedback loop on the story arcs that you've got going through. We can also, and this is where a lot of smaller developers, and to be fair, bigger developers miss out on a great opportunity, is we can help build a community around your game. Voice actors are wonderful marketing tools because we're all eager to have our ego stroked. And we want people to go, oh, the voice acting in that game was amazing. Who are the actors? So we are more than happy to get out on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, come to events, go to expos where your game might be, and show it off and talk about it. I myself Twitch stream. I have quite a dedicated Twitch community. So give me a copy of the game. I'll stream it. It's another marketing avenue. We are more than happy to do that. So please, please use us to that effect. And 9 times out of 10, when an actor wants to work on your game, it's because we love what we're seeing. Usually an actor will approach a developer at the expo next door, for example, we'll see a game that we like the look of, something that resonates with us, that we see something in the game, like, I really want to work on that, which means we're interested in your project. So use us, use our enthusiasm to help promote the game that you're working on. So, when do you bring us in? As early as you possibly can. I've worked on 60-something titles. 9 times out of 10, I am brought in at the last minute. Sometimes, I won't say the title involved, because I don't want them to feel bad, but I was doing a session, it was a big developer, I was doing a session on a Monday for a game that was launching on Thursday. That's how late the audio was going in. It was a load of pickups. They dropped 10 characters down the back of the sofa and suddenly found them and needed to give them a voice, so they brought me in to get this done. That's far too late. Bring us in as early as you possibly can. We should be working in tandem with the writers. All voice acting and character performance in games is a team sport. It's not drop the actor into the booth, have the writer write completely on their own, have the character art put together in isolation, for example. We can inform the writing, and vice versa. And the more information I have as an actor going into it, the better the performance you are going to get out of me. 9 times out of 10, when I get into the booth and we start working through it, if we have enough time, there will be changes that I make to the character, to the speech that's on the page. And we can provide useful perspective on story arc. The best sessions I have had, Elite Dangerous, the guys at Frontier, were fantastic for this. I would go in for a recording session. I'd be given all the context of the audio I was about to record, so I know this is a spaceship floating out in space, and the players can take their ship and find the audio that we're about to record. But what would happen is, through the session, when I'm recording this audio log, by the end of it, I would know the character, because that's my job, right? I have to become the character that I am recording for. And by the end of it, I can get to a point where I'm going, I don't think the character would say it like that. It doesn't make sense. Or by the end of this speech, I wouldn't be this angry. I wouldn't be this upset. Or maybe I would be more upset or more angry. So I can provide a useful perspective. And it works best if you then have a writer in the room as well. And on the fly, you make those adjustments. And these are all the tiny little things that go into making a character or a moment in a game more believable and have more punch. So if you're bringing your actors in early, it gives us that time to help you form the narrative, to help you bring out really believable characters. If you can, and I'm starting to have this happen to me now, is a developer might choose a specific actor to work with. If you know of an actor who, do you know what, that guy plays gruff male protagonist really well. Okay, great. That's who I'm going to write my character for. Or this guy plays kind of weak, scared male characters who are just really emotionally vulnerable. They want to write for that. So if you see an actor's performance that's of a certain character type that you like, consider bringing in that actor and writing a part that is specific to them. Yes, it's extra effort, but if you're writing a very narrative-heavy game that centers around emotions and story arcs, if you can pair a script with a specific actor, you're going to be getting something pretty good out of that. And lastly, consider meetings and table reads and workshops. Again, 9 times out of 10, I am thrown in at the end of a process where you may already have the script locked. You may have already sent it for translation. That's happened a lot, where we can't change the script now because it's already gone to the translators. So the subtitles have already been written. So we cannot change anything. It's too late. So consider bringing us in early. When you've got a rough script, if you've got 5 actors in your game, 5 central characters, bring them all in. Get them round the table. Get some pizza and some beer, or wine, I'm not fussy, just let me drink, and let us perform the game for you in front of you and bring those characters off of the page and up in front of you. Get it up on its feet is the phrase I like. And then you can start seeing holes or scenes that don't work or character journeys that just don't work. So consider getting us in and having a trial run. So where do you find us? As I've said, we are all in coffee shops working on our screenplays, like writers or any other artists. The best place you'll find us? Recommendations and referrals. For two reasons. If a fellow game dev has worked with an actor, they know two things. One, that I can do the job, and two, that I'm not a ginormous pain in the ass to work with. It's all well and good finding the right actor who has the right voice or the right performance style for your game. But if they turn up late, haven't read the script, are really difficult to direct, or are in general just not very fun to be around, it makes recording difficult. So if you can get recommendations from other game developers, not only are you going to get a performer that you need, but you're going to get someone who is good to work with. And again, I hammer this home, we should not be something that you drop in. We should be brought in as part of the team working on your game, just like a coder, a designer, an artist. Then the next most obvious, talent agents. Go on Google, voice actor agents, London, voice actor agents, Los Angeles, etc. That's obviously where you're going to find a lot of voice talent. Depending on the agencies you go to and that you find, you may be hit and miss with what talent you find, but they are a great general starting point for finding voice talent. If you don't have any recommendations or referrals for what you're looking for, or if you have a specialty, if you want to find someone who speaks a certain language or has a certain particular tone, generally you'll find those people under agencies. Twitter. I love Twitter. I get an awful lot of work through Twitter. You can find a lot of voice actors on Twitter because they're all on Twitter asking for work. What I would warn you about is doing a general casting call on Twitter, because voice actors are like piranha, and you are dangling a piece of meat into the Twitter river, as it were. You will be inundated with DMs and tweets, and then it becomes very difficult to sift through what is, hi, I'm a professional voice actor with games experience, and I'd like to work with you, and hello, I have a USB microphone, and my friends say I can do funny voices. I'd love to audition for your game. That's the two ends of the extreme that you're going to get. So again, you can use Twitter, but I would advise slightly do it discreetly. Maybe DM some of your game friends for recommendations. Search for hashtags about voice acting. Use it like a Google search. So search for voice actors on Twitter. Use that to find websites and demo reels to find actors that you might want to work with. And then if you have to, put out a generic, I'm looking for voice actors for my game. Just be prepared for hundreds of responses, because we're all so desperate for work. Game developer events, like this one. There's at least two voice actors here, me and a gentleman on the front row, Mike Bodie. Two wonderful voice actors. Please hire us all for your games, please. Please. I need to eat. But yeah, game developer events. So you've got the likes of DevGam, EGX in the UK, GDC. These days, you will find voice actors walking around those. If you happen to have a booth in the expo at DevGam, you'll have probably had some voice actors come up to you. But if you take your game out and show it anywhere, you will get voice actors come up to you. We are everywhere. You cannot escape us. Google, I mean, we're scraping the barrel now, but if you Google voice actor, you will find voice actors. Again, you just need to be careful about what you are finding. If, for example, anybody's Twitter bio says aspiring voice actor, they're not a voice actor. Like Yoda, do or do not, there is no try. You are either a voice actor or you're not a voice actor. So if you are an aspiring voice actor, you are Stephen in his bedroom with his USB microphone. So just look out for that. Pay-to-play websites. I say that with a shudder. So for example, you will not find me on any pay-to-play websites. And most professional actors will not be on pay-to-play websites. The main reason for that is we can't trust any of them. And even as the person using that website to find somebody, you have to be slightly careful as well. There's a lot of double dipping in the middle in terms of budgets. Some of them restrict who your auditions go out to. Some of them will filter the auditions that come back to you. So you just have to be slightly mindful. Again, what you can use pay-to-play websites for, really effectively, is to go and look and listen to actors' demos. Again, use it like a database of voice actors. If you find a voice actor on a pay-to-play website that you like, Google their name. Then reach out to them directly. When I was on pay-to-plays, if you Googled my name, you'll find me. You'll either find me, a female soprano called Jay Britton, or a snowboarding rapper called Jay Britton. He might be good at voiceovers, I'm not sure. And then the question of, do you use union talent or non-union talent? The industry changes very, very fast, and there was a time when you would say, union talent, SAG-AFTRA in the States, Equity in England, for example, is where the best talent is. Yes, there is a lot of fantastic union talent. But now there is a lot of fantastic non-union talent. I, for example, am non-union. Dun, dun, dun. So it's not necessarily a hallmark of quality. You do find good and bad in both. It mainly comes down to you, where you are in the planet, whether or not your company is large enough that you would need to worry about hiring union actors. It's really down to an individual choice. If you want to hire actors in America, for example, it becomes a much bigger issue as to whether or not they're union or non-union, and the impact on you as a company. But in terms of quality, it's not necessarily any kind of barrier to entry now. Okay, you're ready. You've got your characters. You want to find some actors for them. Voice acting is a specialist skill set. I don't care what anybody says. It is a specialist skill set. I don't do stage. I don't do screen. I don't do any other kind of acting. I am a voice actor, and I have spent many years specializing in being a voice actor, and specifically for games. So think about that when you're approaching actors. What is their background? Are they a voice actor? Are they a theater actor? Are they a screen actor? Because that will impact the kind of performance that you get. And their level of experience. They might have done 10 years on Broadway or the West End. Have they ever been in a recording booth? Don't rush. It does take time. And then if you're lucky, you find like a jewel in the crown, like me or somebody else. So don't rush. Don't be, we're recording next week and we have no actors. Let's just Google and go on Fiverr.com and find an actor. Never go on Fiverr.com to find actors. I hope you never have to say that. So don't rush. Give it the time. It's like hiring an artist or a coder or a level designer. It takes time. Don't rush it. And don't be too tied to a character idea. I've had this happen a lot where a developer has a voice or a performance in their head for a character in their game. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have a very solid idea of what you want, that helps. Just don't be tied to it. Because what that stops is you giving that script to an actor and them doing what they do with it, which is, I'm going to take what you've said about this character. All right, you might have described them as angry. This character is always angry. And you'll get some actors who go, I'm always angry. Okay, great. Then you might get an actor who decides to go, do you know what, I'm just really angry. And they do it in a restrained way, in a completely different way. If you're too tied to what a character has to be like, you can miss what might actually be a better performance and better fit the narrative. Context, context, and context. Please, in any audition materials you send out. I have received audition materials that are literally, you are playing the part of Dad. Here is line 1. Get out of that tree, son. Okay, good. I have no idea who I am, who I'm talking to, what the situation is. Why does he have to get out of the tree? Is it dinner time, or is there a meteor coming to smash through the tree? What's the level of urgency here? Have I just been on a 5-mile jog and I'm out of breath? Oh, get out of the tree. Or am I just quite lazy? Whatever, get out of the tree, I don't really care. If I don't have any context, how can I possibly give you something that fits into the scene you want me to audition for? Give us artwork, music, any game Bibles that you have. And I get it. It's very scary going, here, actor, have a load of assets from our game. We sign NDAs for a reason. If you look back historically about leaks about games, it's very, 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 very rare that it's actually from an actor. We sign NDAs. It means we can't talk. If I break an NDA, I'm not employed. I don't have a salary. I don't have medical benefits. If I start breaking NDAs, I don't get hired again. So please trust us. There's so many games I've auditioned for, even when I have signed NDAs, and they still don't send me anything. And then 3 months later, I find out what the game was for, and I realize that my audition was completely wrong, because I was auditioning for, Resident Evil 3 in my head, and it turned out it's for cute little bunnies go on holiday with their children, and I've read it completely wrong. So please help us out and let us know what the game actually is. Consider directed auditions. By directed auditions, I mean Skype in with your actor. If you've done it right and you've narrowed it down to a pool of 20 actors that you want to audition for a part, consider Skyping in with them to do an audition. And the reason I say this is because otherwise, again, we're kind of just feeling around in the dark. We can give you an audition, but there's no opportunity for you to go, do you know what? I liked that, but can we try this? Can you make him a bit more angry? Can you make him a bit more vulnerable? And you get 2 things out of that. The first is you hopefully get a better performance, and you get to see that the actor actually might be really suited for the character you're casting for. And the second thing you're doing on the sly is finding out how well the actor can take direction, which is unbelievably important. It's all very well and good if you find someone who's, okay, he's got the best voice in the business. Perfect. But if you go, okay, Brian, give us the line. I want to kill my dad. Okay, that's great. Can you say it more angry? You're just furious with rage. I want to kill my dad. Okay, no, you're not listening. Okay, more love. I want to kill my dad. Because the actor can't take direction. If you audition people and you do it with a directed audition over Skype, you can find out if they can perform or not. Pay attention to the performance, not the voice. Far too often, people get hung up on, I am listening and waiting to hear a certain voice that I want. Like, maybe I do want him to sound like this. Okay, great. That's an audio thing. It doesn't matter if the character sounds exactly like you want if the person performing it isn't believable as the character. And whenever I coach voice actors, I talk about this. The voice should be something that comes last, not first. If you tie a character to a voice, you've already fixed the performance to fit the voice. And it should be going the other way around. So close your eyes and wait for an actor to make you feel what that character needs to make you feel. If this is a character I have to hate, it can sound like whatever you like as long as you hate him. So pay attention to the performance and not the voice. And don't be afraid of going back to the same actor with direction. So if you haven't done a directed performance and an actor sends you in a tape they've done on their own, feel free to email them back. If you like if you think with a little tweak, this could be exactly what we need, send them an email back. We're just desperate for work, gang. We'll do anything. And if an actor understands games, it'll save you time. I'm a massive nerd. I have been gaming for 30 years. I Twitch stream. I get games. Which means in a recording booth, if you explain to me that, okay, these are generic emote shouts for NPCs during battle, I know exactly what this means. I know how that audio is going to be layered in. I know how that audio is going to appear in-game. I'm not going to waste 10 minutes going, what's an NPC? What's a battle? Is it still on Nintendo Super NES? It'll just save time. It means we understand what you're trying to achieve. So if the actor understands games, all the better. Keep an ear out for specialties. Even if you don't have a need to cast one right now, keep an ear out for any specialty voices or accents or backgrounds that you hear. Make a little casting database. And not all actors are the same. We have differing skill sets. You may have an actor who can absolutely nail gruff male protagonist. Okay, great. If you've got a gruff male protagonist, cast them. But they can't do anything else, and that's fine. They might just be good at performing one role really well. I can do one role really well. I can do all the things. But I can also do loads of different accents, and I can make myself older or younger or speak with a lisp. And then you get actors who can come in and do all your NPCs in 2 hours because they're good with variety. So just keep an eye out for what an actor's specialty is. And know what style of performance suits your game. Is it cinematic? Do you want down-to-earth, realistic performances for which perhaps a screen actor might be better suited to? Is it a bit more cartoony and over the top? I work in animation as well, so I might be more suited to that style of game. So know what's going to suit your game. Be aware of difficult content. I've called it difficult content, but I simply mean if it's emotionally difficult content. I have been in my career tortured, horribly tortured. Okay, Jay, this is a machine that puts spikes into you from every angle at the same time, and you're gagged and you can't move, and you're also on fire. For me to accurately portray that, I have to go to the dark place. So if there's going to be difficult content coming up, or, hey, Jay, your character comes home and their wife and kids are all dead. Yay! I could do with knowing about that because I have to go to that place. Cast authentic when you can. It affects more than just the voice. There are so many games that come out of the States with British accented characters who I know within about 5 seconds are not a British actor. It's an American doing a British voice, which is fine. I get it. Needs must. But it's about more than just the accent. For example, if the game has been written and the script is not natively in English, let's say it's been written in Russian, for example, and it's been translated to English, if you hire an authentic English person, I can go, that phrase isn't quite right. We would say it like this, or we would turn those words the other way around. So we can give you more than just an authentic accent. We can make it an authentic portrayal of that person. If you are auditioning actors remotely, ask us to do it from our studios. Again, most professional actors now, voice actors at least, will have home studios. I have a home studio. It's a separate building in my garden, soundproofed bunker. That's where I spend all of my time. I love it. It's slightly crazy. But if you audition me from home, you get to hear what my studio sounds like. So if you're not outsourcing to an audio studio, it gives you a chance to check that my audio quality is going to be good, and I'm not Brian in my bedroom with the USB. And lastly, you are in control of the casting process. Now, I've put this in here because the other option is you go to an all-in-one audio outsourcing company who goes, yeah, we will cast your game for you, we will record all the audio for you, we'll do QA for it, and we'll send it to you. That's fantastically wonderful. You've got it all in one bag. However, you are still in control of the casting process. If they cast a voice you don't like, you can tell them. If they haven't sent it out to an actor that you would quite like to work with, you can ask them to audition that actor. So don't ever think that you are giving up control of casting. So I've put this up. This is an example I created of what I, as an actor, would like to see when I'm being sent an audition. So a bit about the game, the character name, their age, their build, the accent. And here's the thing, you say build. Why do I want to know about the character's build and their age? Well, if they're 65, okay, they're immediately older. Are they hunchbacked? Why do I want to know if they're hunchbacked? Because I will record it like this. And I've just gone out of camera shot. That's great. Because that changes the way the character sounds. If somebody is hunched over, their lungs are all tight, their diaphragm's ruined, they're going to sound differently. I need to know about the build. Any voice characteristics and the character biography. Who are they? What do they want? And then I want to see the character's name, the line, and any notes for that line. So going back to Timmy in the tree, we could have had character name, dad. It's fine, I can deal with a generic dad. Line, please Timmy get out of the tree. Notes, a Bengal tiger has climbed up the tree and is about to eat Timmy. You've just run out of the house. Great, that's fine. I know how to deliver that line now, probably quietly or loudly, depending on how much I like Timmy. Rates and pay, the juicy bit. You get what you pay for. This is the same in everything in life. Pay cheap, you get a cheap actor. In all kinds of ways. It does pay to pay for a professional actor. My kit is professional, my experience is professional, my knowledge of the industry is professional, and my ability to help you get what you want is professional. So an actor's fee is usually made up of the following. Basic studio fee, which is our hourly fee to get us in the studio recording. And then the usage, which is essentially your license to use the audio. As an example, in the UK, whether or not you work with an actor directly or through an audio outsourcer, a person in the UK under copyright law cannot sell their performance. We just can't, legally. The way we do it is we license it to you. It might be for £1 for the rest of time in all media forms, but there needs to be some kind of buyout, which is your license. So if anybody ever says you're not paying your actors buyouts, you need to check, because you may not be legally allowed to use the audio. The usage that you pay usually is limited to in-game for that one game. So if you do DLC that's paid for, you'd be paying usage again. If you want to take the audio and broadcast it live on TV during the Super Bowl, you'd have to pay the actors a usage fee for TV. And the usage is generally an actor's basic session fee times 2, times 3, depending on if you're AAA or indie. Travel expenses aren't standard, but we greatly appreciate them. As an example, if I get booked for 1 hour in London, I'm already losing £100 to get in on the train, and then maybe probably 20% to my agent, if you've come through my agent, and then another 20% on tax. So if you are out in the middle of nowhere, or you desperately need your actor to travel during peak time, consider offering travel expenses. We will love you. There may be an additional studio hire cost. If you're hiring me, you get my studio as part of my price. There's nothing extra. But if you're outsourcing or having to book a studio for an actor who doesn't have their own, you may be paying for studio time as well. If it's greater travel, if you want me out of the country for a week to come and do a recording, generally the expectation is you would cover travel, accommodation, and then a day rate, because I can't work for anybody else. If I came to Minsk for a week to do your game, I can't do any other work, so it becomes a day rate, and then a per diem, so per day amount to pay for dinner. And then if you do hold table readings, workshops, etc., you're looking at an additional fee for, again, a half day maybe, or an hour or two, depending on what you want them to do. Motion and facial capture, because I also do mocap with the very sexy skin-tight suit and the head cam that's like a vice. That's extra fees as well. I haven't included that in this talk because there's a lot to get through. But that's additional pricing as well. And if any of you want to drop me an email or get in touch about that, I can help you price out that as well. However, there are lots of ways to skin a cat. If you are an indie developer and you don't have much budget, I would encourage you, rather than going cheap and going, hey, we'll pay $50 to get an actor in. Because here's the thing, gang. We can all tell when it's awful voice acting. It's not like you can pay $20 to get a voice actor in and it's going to be Oscar winning. We can all hear it as gamers. However, I have done games for free. Shock, horror. Because a combination of two things. I have loved the game. Like, it's a game I desperately wanted to be a part of, or it was a developer that I really wanted to support. But what we've done is deals on the back. So, okay, we can't afford to pay you for the sessions and recording, but you can have 1% of sales or whatever. You know, it's a way to involve professional actors, give them a way to make money from the project, but you don't have to worry about finding the budget up front for them. If the game is a success, we all benefit, great. So there are a lot of ways to do it. All right, how do you work with us weirdos? There is no one way. So now we're talking about you've cast us, we've agreed what we're going to be paid, now we're in the recording studio. There is no one right way to work with an actor. Some people will tell you that there is, and this is how you direct an actor. No. Annoyingly, actors are individuals. We're human beings. We all have different emotions. We all have different ways of working. If this scene needs me to cry, I might get there a different way from another actor. So it's all about finding the working relationship between you and the actor, in whatever way that might be. And a good relationship with your actors will get a better performance. I have had some horrible, horrible sessions with awful directors who just did not have a clue. But I'm there, I've been paid, I've got to get through the script. It just becomes awful, and it does affect performance. So really do put the effort in to make this work. It doesn't have to be expensive. We've just talked briefly about how you can skin the cat, so it's not that difficult. And here we go. It's a team sport. Have a writer in the room. Have a game designer in the room. For two reasons, well, not for two reasons. The writer is there so that if we come up against something and I want to change it, the writer can say yes or no. The game designer is there because if I want to change something, they can go, the mechanic doesn't exist. You can't pick up that bottle. It doesn't exist. Or, no, we have to find all the pieces for the radio kit in this section of the game because that's the objective. Okay, great. We can't change that. So have somebody from those two disciplines in the recording sessions. They might be the same person. That's fine. It just allows it to be a team thing. A director I worked with once, a guy called NJ from White Paper Games, he says this about voice acting and getting performances into games. There are 4 different characters for every one character. There's the character in your head, there's the character on the page, there's a character in the booth, and there's the character in the edit. It's not a simple, the actor comes in, I record it, it's done, and we go. It's a process and it's a team sport. Consider getting outside help. I've worked with a number of directors who, they actually work as game writers, and as doing that, they have now learned how to direct actors, and they offer freelance directing. So if you're not comfortable with directing, consider getting somebody from the outside in to help and come in and direct it. It works great. Make the most of the time before the session. I was going to do like a hands up, but it's probably not the right time. I very, very rarely see a script before I turn up. 9 times out of 10, my job is open the studio door. Hi, Dave. Hi, Brian. How are we? Okay, good. Straight into the booth. Okay, great. All right, do you want a water? Honey and lemon? No, I'm fine. Thank you. We get in. The script then comes up on the screen, Excel spreadsheet. Then back out in the room. Yeah, hi, Jay. Character number 1 is a farmer, 35 years old, lost his sheep. Thanks very much. Line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6. Okay, great. Okay, Jay, next character is a soldier. He's also lost a sheep. Okay, great, thank you. Line 1, line 2, line 3. I know nothing. I know nothing about the game. I know nothing about the characters I'm going to do. Again, I get it. Scary letting things out into the domain. Please send me a script. It would be nice to know who I'm being. It also gives me a chance to find out if there's any words that I don't know how to pronounce, especially if they're fantasy games. This is the town of El Rondovia Ralimala. Okay, great. How do I pronounce that? That's time you're wasting in the session when we could be recording lines if you're trying to tell me how to pronounce something. Let me know before. Let us do our jobs. Trust us. In theory, if you've cast it, you've got a professional actor in, let us do our jobs. Trust us to bring that character to life. Sometimes the work gets physical. Voice acting hurts. I have had friends who have had bleeding in the throat. I have had friends who have lost their voice for weeks and weeks at a time. If it's going to be physical, let us know. Ideally, have the recording space set up for us to get physical. I did a lot of work on Game of Thrones, the TV series, recording all the battle cries and the death scenes. And yes, Man on Fire number 3 is one of my credits, where one of the dragons comes, spoilers, by the way, for Game of Thrones. Dragon comes in, sets everybody on fire. The guy you hear screaming is me. That's 4 hours in a London studio screaming. So sometimes the work does get physical. Let us know if it's going to be physical. Don't give line reads. So a line read is you would be on the other side, and the line might be, "Hi, Timmy, get out of the tree." Poor Timmy, still in this tree. And you would go, "Okay, Jay, hi, Timmy, get out of that tree." And what you're saying is you want me to go, "Hi, Timmy, get out of that tree." It's incredibly insulting if that's how you start a session. Because what you're doing is you're not trusting me. I'm there to give you a performance. If you're just going to give me the line and you want me to repeat it back in the exact same way, why am I there? It's pointless. It's a waste of money. I have done a 4-hour session, thousands of lines, and we started at line 1 with a line read. So no chance for me to actually perform or act or do my job. I've just given a line read. Line reads are good if we've tried 3 or 4 times and I'm just not getting it. I just can't quite understand what you're going for or how you want this to feel. Absolutely, give me a line read. That's cool. Just don't start with line reads. And as I've said, be flexible with how we phrase things or the sentence structure. Again, if you're working with a good writer who is used to working with actors, they won't be going, "No, you can't change one word of my beautifully written script." They will understand. Don't rush. It's pretty obvious. Again, if you're working with a good actor, you won't need to rush. A larynx is a delicate thing. Mine is rough today, hence why I'm coughing. It is a very delicate piece of equipment. It's like a Stradivarius violin. All right, we look after them. I drink a lot of water and honey, and I will be going to the steam room this evening to just absorb all the steam. Please be delicate with it. If you're going to do, if you need us to do lots of death shouts, battle cries, put them at the end of a session. Don't start a 4-hour session with battle screams and then have us do 3 hours of normal talking afterwards. If you know we're going to be doing physical, painful stuff, put it on a Friday. It gives us Saturday and Sunday for our voices to recover. Because if I blow out my voice doing your game, that's work I can't do for the next couple of days. And so is the heart. The larynx is a delicate thing, and so is the heart. Be considerate of what your actor is going to go through in the booth. I have done scenes where I'm being tortured. I have done scenes where loved ones have died. I have done scenes where it's an incredibly emotional, horrible experience. And genuinely, when I've done scenes like that, if it's from home, I have to go and have a walk. I have to take 5 minutes and go, the sun is shining, life is good, I'm not actually dying. Because in theory, if I'm giving you the performance you need, I should get to a point where I am feeling these things. So, maybe put in some little breaks. If you've got a really difficult scene, do that scene, then break for 10 minutes, have a cup of tea. It gives the actor a chance as well to get out of the headspace of my wife and kids are dead and into the headspace of, oh, now I'm just doing the shopping. Because that generally happens as well, right? Games aren't linear. And that's how scenes go. It is literally 1 minute this, death, destruction, horrible, despair. Next minute, love and happiness and cute kitties. So just bear that in mind. Don't tell me how to sound, tell me how to feel. It's my job to make me sound right. Just tell me how to feel. Don't say, oh, can you sound like you're uncomfortable? What does uncomfortable sound like? I could be uncomfortable right now. Do I sound like I'm uncomfortable? Maybe a little bit. So tell me how I'm feeling. That's what an actor works off. Say, okay, you're feeling betrayed by this person, and you also feel guilty. Okay, that I can work with. Remember, it's a team sport, and avenues are there to be explored. You may go down a performance for a line that you had no idea that's how that line was going to be said, or no idea that's how that character was going to be done. So just be open to exploration. Paint a picture of what's going on around me, how I feel in the moment, and then trust me. So again, context, context, context. Okay, Jay, you've just come home. You've had a really, really long day at work. You're expecting to see your wife, have a hug. She's not there. The house is eerily quiet. You're stressed, you're tired, now you're anxious. Go. That's all I need. I don't need 3 hours of, you've noticed that the keys are on the side, but your wife isn't here, and actually the dog flap is slightly ajar, and you forgot to get mayonnaise, and now you need to go. I don't need all of that. Just short sentences. Tell me what's going on in the scene and how I feel. I do need to know about the environment, especially if I'm talking to other people. Now, this is one of the biggest challenges usually faced in games because it's very rare we record ensemble. I have had the most intense anger and love and heartfelt scenes with someone who wasn't in the room. And I'm on the microphone going, I love you in a way I've never loved anybody. Okay, thank you, next line. Like, it's really hard. I have to play off of nothing. If I'm talking to somebody, I love you. I've loved you in a way I've never loved anybody. And then the other actor was told, no, you're in a giant banquet hall. I love you in a way I've never loved anyone. I love you. I really love you. It doesn't work. So tell me, are we in a banquet hall? Is there a battle raging in the background? Or are we sat next? I mean, that's the other option, is you're sat next to each other on the sofa. I love you in a way I've never loved anyone. So just tell me what the room is. And what am I doing? Am I running? Am I concentrating? Am I distracted? Is there anything else going on while I'm talking? Am I like, and this sounds stupid, but a good actor will do this. If you told me, okay, Jay, while you're delivering this line, you're using a tin opener. You're trying to get the sweet corn open for dinner. That's a completely different performance from, Jay, you're stood still just talking to your wife. I will sound, hang on, right, like I'm, what? Okay, yeah, what? Like I'm distracted. So tell me what I'm doing. Where am I? What am I doing? What's going on? And again, talking about actors together, there are 2 ways you can do it. Well, there's lots of ways you can do it, but get us in the same room if you can. That's the best way. Get us on Skype together if you can't. I don't know if you know, Firewatch was all done over Skype, which works really well because the 2 main actors in the game are talking across a radio. So a lot of the recording was just done with them on Skype. And if you can't, have one actor set the tone and play their lines to the other actor. So kind of decide which character in the scene is leading that scene, have them record first, and then play that to the other actor. All right, we're nearly there. Lastly, now I've put this slide in because I love game developers a lot. Like, gaming is my jam. I love games. I love devs. I help them out as much as I can, always happy to talk. So I kind of put this in as, what can you do that's going to make your actors love you and make them want to work with you again? And go around, developer conferences and the games industry in general, telling everyone how amazing you are. Because we talk a lot. We talk so much. We never leave the house. So anytime we get out of the house, we tell everybody everything, as long as it's not under NDA. Please keep in touch after the recording sessions. Again, it's that theory of don't just bring us in for an hour and then go, okay, bye. We're part of the team. We want to be part of the team. If we're working with you, we probably love what you're doing. So please keep in touch with us. Credit us. Please, for the love of God, credit us. And check the actor's name and how they spell it. Fortunately, I've never been miscredited, but I've got a colleague who has been miscredited at least 3 times where they've spelt their name wrong. And I know it sounds like a stupid thing, but if you're a game developer who is playing a game and go, I love the performance of that actor, and their name isn't right in the credits, you've cost that actor a job, potentially. And it hurts us, because we're not just sat at home with the phone ringing off the hook. We are reliant on you lovely people telling people about good actors that you have worked with. Create an IMDb page. This doesn't get done for nearly enough games. It takes maybe 20 minutes for someone at the office to create an IMDb page. You don't even have to worry. You don't have to worry about adding all the actors, because I guarantee you, the second the actors see there's an IMDb page for the game, they will be on it. And they will be going, add credit, Jay, the best voice in the game, submit. You just need to get the basic page up there for us, and the actors will come and do the rest. Talk about us in marketing materials. Again, this isn't a one-sided thing. This is a symbiotic thing. We will be out there talking about the game. Every chance, trust me, every chance we get, we will be talking about the game. So just do it in reverse. Use us as a marketing thing. Oh, especially if you've got an actor on board. Let's say, for example, you have used me. But like, oh, okay, yeah, we've got Jay. He was in Elite Dangerous, Frostpunk, Divinity. It just helps create buzz. So do talk about us in your marketing. Okay, this is an odd one, but it's a tricky one. I love games. I love developers, as I have said. If I get into a conversation with a developer, it's usually because I love the thing you're doing. And I mean it. I love what you're doing. It's got an art style that I just fall in love with, or it's got a story that I fall in love with. The heartbreaking thing is when a dev says, great, Jay, I love your stuff. We're going to be in touch. And then you never hear from them. I get it. Things get busy. But just don't say you're going to be in touch. Just go, okay, cool. Thanks. Because it's happened a couple of times where I've nearly been on the hook for a project, and the next thing I see, it's out. I'm like, oh, I didn't even get the chance to audition. It hurts. So if you say you want to work with us, please then do follow up on that, because it means a lot, and we'll love you. If we work on the pitch, invite us to audition for the main game. Again, this has happened a lot. You work on the pitch for a game, the next thing you see, it's released. And you didn't even, we're not asking for a part. We're not saying, give us a part. We're just saying, look, we might have done that pitch for free. We might have recorded some stuff for you so you could go and get funding. To then not get auditioned for the main game hurts. So if we work with you on something, at least invite us to have a shot at being on the game itself. And include us as part of the team. This is probably the biggest and most important one. Just make us feel included, because you'll get a lot more out of us as well. Stay in touch. I've been to a couple of wonderful launch parties. And I say launch party, it's just them getting takeaway pizza at the developer's studio, and we all go along, and we have a beer, and we hug, and we go, Jesus, that was really hard. I'm so glad we made it. We're all really proud of the thing that we did. And lastly, refer us to devs that, if you've enjoyed working with us, please refer us to other devs. It's how we get a lot of our work. And it's how I would like to get work. Because if a random dev coming to me, great. If a random dev comes to me and said, oh, I worked with Bob on game X, I'll be like, oh, you know Bob? I know Bob. Bob's great. And then we've got something in common, and it probably tells me that you're a dev I want to work with as well. So please do shout about us when you can. And lastly, this always surprises people. I very, very, very rarely get a copy of a game I'm in. 60-something titles, I think I've been given copies to about 3 of those games. And there's a reason that it's useful for us. One, it means I can get on Twitch and go, hey, everybody, generate buzz. Here's a game I'm in. We'll do a launch stream. Do that as well. Have a Twitch channel. Get your actors up and do a Twitch stream with them. And then secondly, if I need to find footage that I might want to put in a demo reel for here's my voice acting, I've got a copy of the game and I can play it and I can get footage, which is unbelievably hard because I'm reliant on YouTube walkthroughs with some guy talking over the top the whole time. So please do consider giving us a copy of the game. You know, if it's a £500 collector's edition, no, that's fine. You keep that. Just a download code will do. We're not fussy. And that's it. That's how you can help us, and we'll love you for it.